Hello, everybody. I'm Karen Persis. I am president of the Orange County Bar Association. And today I'm honored to be interviewing Judge Leticia Marques, who is a Ninth Circuit judge here in, right now you're in Orlando, right? You're not in Osceola.
Correct.
Right now you're currently handling like guardianship and mental health. Is that correct?
Correct.
How's that?
It's challenging, really interesting and very, very challenging, but I'm enjoying it.
Is this your first time serving in that area?
This is my first time in this division. Yes.
Okay. And you've been there since during the pandemic, yeah?
Wait, let me think. It's been a long
I know, blur.
I started in 21 in this division. So this is my second year here. Yes. January of 21. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So, all right. So I'm going to ask you some questions about your background so that everybody can better get to know you. First, of course, is what is your family's cultural background? And so I think my understanding is you were born in Cuba. Is that correct?
I was born in Cuba. I have two Cuban parents. My grandparents were Cubans. My great-grandparents were Spaniards. And the fact that I do not have an accent when speaking English is because I was raised in the United States. I came here when I was 2.
And where did you live growing up?
A couple of places. When we first came here, my mom, my 2 brothers, and I came together. My father had to escape from Cuba later on. So when he joined us, he was a doctor and had to redo his training. So we went to, of all places, Vicksburg, Mississippi, which is where I learned to speak English. Yep.
Not only English, though, you learned to speak Southern English.
I did, yes. And I've lost a little of the Mississippi accent, I think, but I mean, I'm sure the folks in Mississippi were a little startled when the Spanish speaking group of people in 1962 landed in Vicksburg, Mississippi. My brothers and I were little. I was 2 years old. And just all towheads, but all speaking in English or in Spanish the entire time. So.
And how did you stay there? Was it just for him to redo his training, or did you stay after that?
No, we moved a bit. He did his internship in Mississippi, and then we moved to Virginia. We lived in Newport News first and then in Richmond so that he could finish his residency. He did his final residency here in Orlando. And this is where my family finally settled.
What was it like growing up in the South?
To me, it was normal. I mean, looking back as an adult, my life was a little bit different than my classmates and friends. I mean, we spoke Spanish at home. Mm-hmm. We ate all kinds of food, a lot of it Cuban. We ate American food, Cuban food. We weren't really limited, but thinking back, our upbringing was a little bit different, but growing up in the South to me was fun. I'm a Southerner at heart. This is where I grew up. This is what I remember. And so, collard greens and grits and all that sort of thing. I made cheese grits last night, as a matter of fact, are all part of the mix of cultures that I have in my life.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. So did you feel like your family faced challenges, in the South growing up in the 60s and the 70s, or do you feel like you're pretty well acclimated?
No, there were challenges. I do remember incidents involving, like there was a school party once that my friend wanted to invite me to, but her mother wasn't sure that she wanted Spanish people at the party. And so there was just a whole thing about that. And then she met us and she thought we were okay. So it was all right for me to go to the party. My parents both had accents, and I noticed that there are some people, not everyone, but there are some people who growing up automatically deducted IQ points for anyone who had an accent. So, I mean, there were issues. They weren't an overwhelming part of my life. My parents prepared us for that. And they just said, look, people are usually just ignorant. They just don't know and don't understand. A lot of it isn't malice based, and you just have to try and help them understand. And if after that they don't, then they're not really worth your time. Just walk away.
So do you think that has helped you, those experiences have helped you as a judge?
Oh, it certainly has. I mean, I think all the experiences you have growing up help you, but it helps me understand the reaction that some folks have when they enter a courtroom, that they're not really expecting a fair shake, that they're thinking they're going to be treated differently. I mean, there's been plenty of studies done about the inherent bias that's in some of the court proceedings, that no matter how hard people try, so you're acutely aware of all of that, but having experienced it, you're even more aware of the body language, the facial expressions that people have when they're expecting to get a negative reception because of their ethnicity, the color of their skin, any of that. So
do you think that it's important to have cultural diversity on the bench?
I think it's crucial to have cultural diversity on the bench. And by that, I mean white, Black, Asian, Hispanic, you name it. It's not just that the litigants are looking at someone who looks like them, because, I mean, most Hispanics understand that my name is Hispanic. And a lot of Hispanics look like me, even though I get the comment all the time of, you don't look Hispanic. The accent throws them off a little bit because I don't have one. And they're sort of, even they are expecting me to have a bit of an accent in English. But it's not just that of looking at someone who looks like you. It's the cultural, it's the non-verbal clues that you pick up, the cultural clues. Hispanics talk with their hands. I don't know if you can see me on camera, but my hands are moving. Because if my hands aren't moving, I'm unable to complete a sentence. But I'll give you an example. When I first started as a lawyer, I started with the public defender's office, and they assigned me to Osceola County.
Mm-hmm.
There were no Hispanic lawyers in Osceola County in 1983, except for me. I was it.
Which is remarkable when you look at the composition of Osceola County now.
The change that has come over this whole area is amazing. But it was causing some problems in that I was in county court. Police officers were arresting people because they were waving their hands around. They were yelling. All the relatives were yelling. They were reading it as dangerous to them. And I was reading at a typical day with my family and the way that they communicate.
Right.
So I was able to, kind of explain it to everyone and say, look, they're not really being disrespectful. This is just the way everybody is. So I think those nonverbal clues that you pick up, some of the behaviors that I see, different groups, they're cultural. They're not meant to be insulting to the court. They're not meant to disrespectful to the law. It's just a cultural problem. And if you don't have that kind of diversity on the bench, you can't explain it. You can't understand it because nobody ever verbalizes it. So,
right. Do you think that we've gotten better here in the Ninth Judicial Circuit as far as diversity on the bench?
110% better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think even just in the past, however long I've been practicing, 17 years being here, I've seen remarkable change from the beginning to now. And just the diversity on our bench has been very positive.
I agree. And it's been very recent. I was elected in 2012, becoming the first female Hispanic in all of Central Florida.
Which is crazy to think. It was just 10 years ago.
Right. Polk County, you name it. And no Hispanic had ever run and won a circuit-wide race. So it's only been in the last 10 years that I've seen some big changes, and our bench has become much more diverse. We now have several Asian judges. We have, I think there's 5 Hispanics that had to count. The number of Black judges has gone up also. At one point we were down to, I think 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, I think it was like Judge Whitehead and Judge Lattimore
and Judge Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, we've definitely increased all of our numbers across the board.
Yeah.
Do you think that there are special challenges or considerations that culturally diverse candidates may face when making appointment or election to the bench?
I can speak to the election process, which is, you are going to face some challenges. There's always the extremes of society. There are always people who are bigoted. They just are. Mm-hmm. And they're going to result in what can be some unpleasant encounters for candidates. I don't think that's ever going to change. I do think the vast majority of people are interested in what the qualifications of the candidates are. Excuse me. But some of the things that happened on the campaign trail were a little bit startling.
Really?
There's some things that occur that are just, and there's some things going on, my understanding, in one of the races now that is unacceptable and unpleasant. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I know what you're talking about, or I think I know what you're alluding to with regard to the current, one of the current races. It's surprising to see, for me, it's surprising given how, I think we live in such a diverse community. So, I mean, I think we've come so far probably since you were first elected. And like you said, there's so many different types of judges now being elected and appointed here. Great. I think it's a better representation. I'm sure you would agree, to our community in the ninth. I mean, it's just such a diverse population. What happened recently in that one race is surprising to me.
I am surprised by it. I just heard about it peripherally and read a couple of articles. That was all.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I think it's gotten much better. When I ran, people were saying things to me that were really startling. And again, this was the vast minority of people.
Right.
But they were asking me if I was here legally. Did my parents cross over on a boat? Did I speak English? Was I a US citizen? Did I have papers? And subsequent to me, there have been Hispanic candidates running. They haven't had to answer any of those questions. They have not experienced that. This community, the Ninth Circuit community, to me is very diverse. It's wonderful to see. Folks are open-minded. It's a wonderful place to be a judge and to live. Again, you're always going to have people on the extremes that are going to end up on the news and give the wrong impression about the vast majority of the electorate, which I think is fine and not prone to these types of behaviors. But you still have to deal with a few people.
Right. What motivated you to become a judge?
I had been a lawyer for about 29 years. Let me count. It's been so long. It was 20. Yeah, I've been a lawyer for 29 years. And I felt like my career as an attorney had run its course. I had practiced criminal law, criminal defense. I'd done a little bit of family, not much. Midway through, I decided to switch and do plaintiff's personal injury. And I just felt like I had run out of challenges, that there wasn't anything that was motivating me. And a couple of friends of mine who were judges kept saying, you would really like this. So I started paying attention to what the job of being a judge is.
Right.
And I thought I would enjoy it and might have something to offer and contribute. So I was ready for that change. And I'm glad I did it. I love being a judge. This is such a great job.
And so what motivates you to continue to be a judge? What do you like about it that keeps you going every day?
Hey guys, hold on one second. Caesar's on, so I figured I'd cut here and you could re-ask the question. Let me let him in since he's here. And you're doing a great job. It's very good, actually, and interesting. Yeah, seriously.
I'm trying not to bore everyone.
No, and I'll just say this to you. It wasn't that you didn't look Hispanic, because I have cousins of all shades and colors, but it's the accent. I hadn't
The accent.
Yeah, I agree. It's the accent. It's not the hair color or anything like that. It's the accent.
It's the accent, because I'd never met Southern Cuban or Hispanic, for that matter.
Yeah.
Mississippi. You heard me say
Mississippi is serious.
Yeah. Like that's as south as you get, baby.
That is as south as you get. Hi, Caesar, how are you?
Hey, doing well.
All
Did
right,
one of
so
those judges keep you late?
I was in Judge Calderon's courtroom and I have trial tomorrow, so it's been a busy week.
we've been flowing Caesar for a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'll go back off, and I think Karen had a question. Maybe you could update him on just quickly some of the stuff you already said, and maybe Caesar can ask a question here or there before we close out, because I think we're getting close to the end.
Yeah, so we're in section 3, Caesar topic 3. We've already talked about Judge Marquez's background and just diversity on the bench and all of that. And so now we were just talking, she's already talked about becoming a judge, and now I just heard what motivates her to continue to be a judge here in the 9th.
Awesome.
All right, so I will mute and turn my camera, and if you guys Want to keep it going? It's very good.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay, so Judge, what keeps you motivated to continue to be a judge here in the Ninth Circuit?
Two things, the work and my colleagues. I find the work really challenging. Being a judge is much harder than I thought it would be. It really is. It's just so interesting. You have to be careful in making decisions. You have to really think about what you're doing. The decisions we make affect people's lives in profound ways in every division. There is no division where we're not affecting someone when we make a decision. But the work's really interesting, and the circuit judges rotate. So I like the fact that I went from criminal, which I knew very well, into guardianships and mental health, which I didn't know, but have been learning a great deal about, and really enjoying helping out folks that are really extremely vulnerable. These are incapacitated persons who need the protections of the courts. The other thing that motivates me are my colleagues. The judges in this circuit are amazing. They really are. And they're so supportive and kind to one another. And when you're having a day where you're thinking, why am I doing this? There's always someone around here who will pick you up and say, no, this is why we do it, and make you feel better about what you're doing, and just get you re-going. And when you make a mistake and you need to go back and fix it, they're there for you. They're never looking down on you. They're like, no, come on, we can fix this. Let's talk it through. So my colleagues are a big part of what keeps me coming back every day. I'm grateful to them.
What, if anything, has changed with respect to being a Hispanic judge since you joined the bench?
I have so much more company now.
Yeah.
Judge Calderon being one of them, Judge Laurent. It's just, it is really, it's nice to look around the judges meeting and see we're all from different countries. So it's not like everybody's Cuban, everybody's Venezuelan or Panamanian. We're all from different places and countries. And there's just instead of it being an event that we have a Hispanic judge, it's just, oh, we have another Hispanic judge.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. Just like we have another Caucasian judge, or we have another Black judge, or I love that for us, it has just become, you're another judge, and we're just part of the team.
Do you think that helps constituents when they see this diversity? Like, do you think it maybe gives them more assurances in the court system, or anything, to see that type of diversity on the bench?
I hope so. I really, really do. I do believe it does. I believe that people want to see the bench reflect the community and feel like the court system, its very structure is diverse, just like the community is diverse, so that the people making the decisions not only are themselves diverse, but have the ability to talk to another judge who might be able to explain issues to them. I remember one case, and it's not just ethnic diversity. I remember one case that I had a lady who was extremely religious, in a religion that I was not raised in, and she kept making decisions based on that. And I needed to go to one of the other judges who understood this to explain to me how I was able to communicate, because it was a domestic case, the decisions the court was making in a way that she could understand and maybe not be happy about, but at least accept why the decisions were being made. So that type of diversity of background, of education, of culture, I think it makes us all better judges.
Aside from a good education and a strong work ethic, what are essential qualities that you believe are important for judges to have?
You need to be able to listen. You need to listen not just to what people are saying to, but what they're not saying to you. I think empathy is important. Oftentimes, you may not be able to make the decision that your heart would want to make. You have to make a legal decision. But I think understanding and empathizing with the situations people find themselves in helps you to communicate to them the decision you're making, even if it's not in their favor, and communicate to them that it's not personal. And why you did it, and just understand that the people that appear in front of judges, other than adoptions, no one happy is in front of us. It's always the problem. And you need to be able to empathize with that and communicate with people and make them feel like you saw them and you heard them. And the decision you made was based on the law, not on a like or dislike of one person or one lawyer or anything like that. I think that's important for judges.
Caesar, do you have any questions?
Yes. How important is it for individuals who aspire to become a judge or a successful professional to have access to good education, internships, clerkships, and mentors?
Critical. I think it's one of, it's one of the profession's responsibilities to try and provide that to as many people as possible, mentorships, internships, all of that, to give folks the opportunity to get involved in those types of things is so important to developing a career that will, if you eventually want to be on the bench, will lead to the bench.
Absolutely. And along your career, did you have any role models that you looked up to?
I did. In my personal life, it was my parents. I so admired what they did. My generation of Cuban kids whose parents left everything behind and came here. They're kind of our version of the greatest generation. So they instilled in me a work ethic and an outlook on life, that life isn't always fair, but it's what you make of it, that I think was very important. In terms of my professional career, wow, there's been so many people who've helped me out. Mel Martinez was a lot of help to me. Charlie Draper out of Osceola County was great because I was there. The late Joe DeRocher was my first boss and really important to me also. Here at the courthouse, Alice Blackwell, good Alicia Latimer. I have so many people, Reggie Whitehead. There's so many judges here, and that even before I became a judge, I looked up to and could ask questions of. So I think that's critical to anybody's development as a lawyer and as a judge.
Absolutely. And I think part of the legal profession has always been paving it forward for future generations. To that extent, how important you think mentoring younger attorneys should be, and what we can do to better assist in that regard?
I think everyone should mentor young lawyers, including the judges, and we do mentor quite a few. I know I do. I always offer myself to, sometimes it's something as simple as having lunch. I think we need to make it clear that we're willing and able to do that. One of my bigger concerns is the students that are in night school, because they have to work during the day. They struggle a little bit more in mentorships because of their life situation. So I think we need to work on that a little bit and getting them some more access to internships, and maybe not the traditional internship. I know Judge Caraballo has done a program here at the courthouse of intern for a day, where you get to follow the judges around for one day, and it's for the folks who work full time and can't do the summer internships. I have a summer intern right now that's finishing up before going back to law school. So there's a lot of stuff we can do. I'm open to any ideas you might have if you want to let me know them.
I think we're honestly doing an intern for a day late October, so we'll
I know that's coming. Yeah,
that's coming up. So I agree, paving it forward, building greater mentorship opportunities for students who don't necessarily have the opportunity is very important in the field, and we do appreciate you taking the time to mentor and mold the future generation, Judge. We really do appreciate that.
well, thank you. I enjoy it. It is fun. I enjoy the heck out of it. It's always interesting. And then I always check back out with lawyers that I've mentored. I had lunch with one last week. She's doing great. She's got her own business. She's just doing great. So it's always nice to see that.
Karen, do you have any questions?
So, okay, you said you made cheesy grits yesterday. I need to know.
We were talking about how Southern I sound.
Yeah, we need to talk about what is your best dish, your best Cuban dish that you can make, and your best Southern dish that you can make. And do you ever pair them together?
Of course. So my best Cuban dish that I can make is my dad's top secret arroz con pollo, which is chicken with yellow rice. For those who don't know what arroz con pollo is, I have the recipe. My brothers have tried to bribe me to get it, but I'm not giving it up. That's my best Cuban dish. My husband would tell you it's picadillo because he loves picadillo. I don't know why, but he loves picadillo. What is my best Southern dish? My cheesy grits are pretty good, but I make a mean collard greens. And
Ooh.
collard greens
Collard
actually,
greens are not easy to make. Not easy to make well.
but I learned how to make it from Miss Betsy in Mississippi. And Miss Betsy taught me the secret, which to her was a little bit, you got to get some pork in there. You got to get some ham hocks or something.
No.
Got to get a little vinegar going with it. And you can't overcook them.
No.
But I have been known, because all of us love collard greens, I have been known to pair collards with pernil, with pork.
Mhm.
They
Yeah,
go.
the natural. Yeah, it makes sense.
So we're roasting the pig in the box, like a hachina as we call it, and we're cooking collard greens. I have a foot in both worlds, and I'm very comfortable with that. I grew up this way, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Honestly, that sounds delicious. Makes me hungry.
it is pretty good. You'll have to come over the next
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds really good. Let's see. So finally, if you had a time machine, who in the past would you have dinner with if you could go back in time?
Who would I have dinner with?
Yeah.
Oh, let me think. There's so many people. Do I have to just pick one?
I mean, I'm fine if you pick more than one.
Me too.
I think that people are going to think I'm nuts when I say this. I would like to have, do I have to have dinner or can I just have a cup of coffee and then leave?
You can have a cup of coffee.
Okay. I would like to talk to Adolf Hitler because I'd like to ask him, why would you do something this barbaric? But that would be like only a few minutes.
Yeah.
But if I was going to have dinner with someone, it would be Catherine the Great.
That's awesome.
I mean, just think about it. Just think about what she did in the time that she lived and her accomplishments, because they were many. And as a woman in a country that really didn't have any freedoms for women, she has to be completely fascinating to talk to.
That's true. That's a really good pick.
Yeah.
And what is one thing that people are generally surprised to find out about you?
I'm an introvert by nature.
Really?
Yes. When we become judges and warn everyone who wants to become a judge, they make you take the personality test, whose name has gone right out of my head, Myers-Briggs.
Yeah.
And I scored, and it didn't surprise me, but it surprised a lot of people. I scored very highly on the introvert scale.
I would not have picked that.
Me either.
Almost no one does. Just like they listen to the accent and go, that name looks Spanish. She could be, but that accent doesn't sound right.
No, that's so true.
A lot of people are surprised I speak Spanish, but but no, it's that I'm an introvert. That's the thing that surprises people the most.
Well, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. And we're so happy that we're able to honor you. And I think, see, what else are we supposed to do?
Well, I want to take a minute and thank you all very much for this honor. I'm really very proud of my heritage. And when I got the message, I was very surprised and very, very honored. So thank you all very much. I appreciate this.
We appreciate all that you do for our circuit. And I know you've got a challenging division right now. And it's, I've gotten some emails about some of the guardianship issues that we're trying to explore with Bethany, see if we figure something out in that respect too.
Good. Glad to hear that.
And thank you for your service and also representing the Hispanic community. I know when I first started as a law student here interning, there was not a lot of Hispanic judges. So to see the people who initially started here in the Ninth Circuit and, the development and the increase of diversity we have now, it's beautiful. It's great to see that there's promising future. We're getting more Hispanics on the bench, and I'm excited to see where we're going to be at in a few years.
You and me both. I look forward to welcoming more to the bench.
Absolutely. Okay, well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.